being in and around nature is what inspires me the most, especially when it feels like home. I want to welcome you to my mother's garden. It's always been a safe space for me to explore my imaginations, and it's really wonderful to see my baby crawling around just as I once did and enjoying the garden. It led me onto these thoughts about how plants and trees, they see generations of families enjoying the nature outside, but it's like they quietly sit and observe the joy that is found in a garden. The delphiniums were out in bloom, so I thought they would be the perfect thing to paint today in the plein air painting session. It was really nice to be able to paint outside again because it's been a long time since I have. It can be very different dealing with the elements like wind and sunshine drying out the paint so quickly, but there is nothing like painting out in the open and painting from life rather than a photograph. It's truly, truly wonderful and inspiring. It's definitely inspired and encouraged me to do more plein air painting, and I do encourage you guys to try it again. I was trying to capture all those shadows in the delphiniums, the balance between the lights and the darks. I actually found them quite challenging to paint as well because I'm working in acrylic and generally I use mostly oils, but I thought the oils might get a little bit messy taking them out, especially because I am a little bit clumsy as well. And the acrylics were drying quite fast on the paper. So that was a challenge for me because I'm used to oils which take a very long time to dry. But it was just nice being out in nature and opening that creative part of my brain. It felt so refreshing to be around all the greenery and to try and let that infiltrate into my painting as well. Of course you don't need a fancy easel to be able to paint outside, just a sketchbook and some paints and maybe a little palette is all you need. I was very fortunate to be able to grow up in a place, to be surrounded by nature and to be able to breathe and have that space in the garden is something that I definitely probably took for granted as a child, but now I realise how unique and special that is to be able to have that. So that's one sketch done, and before we move on to the second one, I just want to quickly share with you the sponsor for today's video. I want to say a massive thank you to Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning platform with thousands of inspiring classes to explore new skills, deepen your existing passions, and to get lost in creativity. They have topics on so many creative subjects like painting, photography, entrepreneurship, literally pretty much anything creative you can think of, there will be a class on it. One of the new classes that I'm really excited to watch is called Transition into Illustration, Breaking into the Industry by Owen Marwin. I really wanted to share this one with you because I know a lot of you are artists or illustrators and are not quite sure how to turn your passion into a business. This class is all about creating a successful business. Her work is really beautiful and she has such a wealth of knowledge on the subject that I'm really excited to start learning. Skillshare is created specifically for learning, so there are no adverts, which means that you can really focus on your passion. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description box will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare, so you can really start exploring those passions and get learning. So I hope that you enjoy those classes, and let's get started on the second sketch. So the next thing that I wanted to paint was the daisies. Now you guys know that I am obsessed with painting daisies. They're all over my Instagram, and so I couldn't help but try and paint them. So I'm putting in a background of like a dark green mixed with a bit of purple to dull that down. And I'm going to start with the center of the daisies with a nice yellow ochre. I'm sort of just figuring out the placement of the daisies, and I want it to be sort of just like throughout the whole page really. And I start by popping in the shadowed petals, so I'm using a blue for this. I don't want to go straight in with the bright white. I want to sort of set the scene a little bit first and create a base layer. And I think that the blue and the yellow work really nicely together because they are so opposite in colour. It feels so peaceful when painting outside, because when you're indoors you can kind of get distracted by so many things, and when you're outdoors it really just takes you out of yourself and you kind of get absorbed in your own little world. I mean, that happens to me regularly anyway. I really like adding different colours that make it quite playful rather than just sticking to exactly what I see, and to me it just makes the painting a little bit more interesting. Of course this is just a sketch, you know, it only took me about an hour or so, whereas an actual painting would take me at least 3 or 4. It's kind of just a play session to relax. And it was really nice to bring you guys along with me today. I hope that you enjoyed it and found that relaxing. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you soon.